You're very welcome back to Ireland AM. 8:17 is the time. Our next guests have been living in limbo since putting down a deposit on a house in a development in County Meath 5 years ago. They still haven't been able to move into the house.
This week, the developer has moved to liquidate the project, leaving their future uncertain. Here to tell us more about this is Elma Beirne and John Ennis. Thank you both so much for being here today. We really do appreciate it. This has gotten a lot of coverage, as well it should. Elma, so can you please briefly tell us about the situation? It all started when you managed to get 30 grand together in 2020 to put a deposit on a house.
Yeah, so we're living in the village, and my husband, John, he was born and bred there, so it's where we want to live. And we were the first people, because we live in the area, to put a deposit down. So €30,000 cash deposit down in 2020. And since then, there was a lot of kind of stop-starts. The site should have been well completed by the end of 2022, but excuses such as, COVID, the Ukraine war, increased building costs, we've heard everything under the sun. And then in 2023, the developer, Joe Elias, came back to us through his solicitor, Pauline Fitzgerald, asking for an additional 60k on top of our sale agreed prices to complete the development. So
what was the sale agreed price?
It was 295,000.
OK, right.
So I know that sounds like great value now, but we are talking kind of 5 years ago. So we simply said, look, we actually are maxed out on our mortgage savings. We don't have an extra €60,000 to pay. And then, a year went past, 2024, still not in it. And we said, you know what, we can come up with an extra 26,000 to simply get into our houses. And then the Monday previous, we found out now he's trying to liquidate the entire site. There's only 5 families left. He can sell the other 11 houses at any price he wants under the sun. We're just simply asking for this to be dealt with in a fair, transparent and respectful manner, but that just doesn't seem to be the case.
What happened to the other... so everyone's... all the houses, 16 houses, is it?
Yeah.
Everyone... The developer got a deposit for all of them. What happened to the others? Did they just say, listen, we were cutting our losses, we're out of here? Yeah,
so it was around 2023, so 8 families pulled out at that stage, because obviously people were kind of moving on with life decisions. But my husband and I, we actually put in an additional 30k into our house, because that's what we were advised to do by the builders at the time. So if you wanted kitchen upgrades, we've our tiles done top to floor, worktops, kitchens, flooring in, and all of our appliances purchased. So we actually couldn't walk away and just take our deposits back, because we'd so much additional money put in. And even as of now, with all these new legal costs, we're probably looking at €70,000.
Oh my God.
And we just simply can't walk away at this stage.
So those costs, this house has been done to your spec then, in the sense that you got your appliances and your tiles and what you want.
Your stuff is in your gaff.
Yeah, it's in there. And as well as that, the houses are 100% complete. The houses have been snagged. There's water connected. There's electricity connected. The only works that are left is landscaping at the front and an exterior wall. That is it. And even on Saturday, they're looking to liquidate the site. The site was reopened on Saturday and they've started building the wall.
OK, so work is being done. I know that we can see some... I know it's been snagged now, but we've got some pictures of the estate that we'll show you in a second. John, obviously this has been going on 5 years now. We know we're in a housing crisis. Of course, costs did go up. We all know costs did go up. We're at an unsustainable level. But you did enter in good faith into a contract. And there are various issues at play here. There was a meeting earlier this week where you just find out that creditors to appoint a liquidator to this development here, which has been snagged. These are older pictures. This has been snagged. What happened? Why are there creditors?
Oh, look, we could be here all day talking about that meeting, to be honest. But I've been in difficult meetings before, but that was horrendous. From the get-go, we weren't treated respectfully. The level of aggression was palpable from everybody that was attended. The chairman that was there, Joe Elias, who's the developer, who's appointed the receiver and who's now appointed the liquidator, he was the chairman of the meeting. And he's required to answer questions relating to the liquidation. So a lot of questions were asked around the creditors that he proposed, and there was little or no information put forward. When he was asked these questions, he either gave vague answers, gave no answer, or under legal counsel was instructed not to answer the questions. So to try and get a fair and transparent reflection of the liquidation and how it's going to go in a fair and transparent manner, didn't come across in that meeting.
Yeah, and just to hop in on that as well, is Joe Elias, the developer, so he's appointed the receivers, Interpath, and now he's appointed the liquidator. And he stated at that meeting that if there wasn't enough bonds left within the site, the remaining money out of the site, that Joe Elias, the developer, will personally pay the liquidator, Colin Gaynor. So we're at a complete unfair disadvantage if the main developer, who stands to be the main creditor, is now paying the liquidator. So from my perspective, I think there's a huge conflict of interest, and we stand to lose an awful lot of money.
What does it say in the letter of the law? Like, so there was the 30,000 euro you put down. That was the deposit. I guess you signed a contract at that point, and then you've got another 26 that you put into it since. What does the letter of the law then say that in terms of the obligation to ye, that and with the house ready to go, is it not like cut and dried that it's like just give us our house?
Like, again, we're no legal experts here. We're normal people that do normal jobs. The legal counsel that we have sought, our contracts are binding, and they're binding to the fact that they should be honoured, and especially considering we have a letter, a variation to our contract issued by the receiver. So the receiver has contracts that are binding, a variation that is binding, and it just has to be honoured. And the two people in control of instructing that receiver to make that contract be honoured are Joe Elias and his wife Donna Marie Sagba. So we don't see why all this conflict has to be the way it is. It just instruct them to make the contracts honourable.
So in this housing estate of 16 houses, 5 families are left. You were offered a few years ago to get your money back, essentially, and you said, no, that's our house. We want that house to completion, and it has been completed. These houses will eventually be sold. Yeah. Regardless of whether you get your house or not, right? Like, this is what's going to happen. What is life? Because I know, like, life has been very difficult for you, Elma. You'd put your life sort of on hold. You hadn't gotten married, which you've done now. You put off having a family, but you now have a baby and you're pregnant. What's been going on for the past 5 years? Yeah,
I just think we've been living in a state of limbo, and essentially, the developer, by his actions, we haven't been able to do life in the order that we've wanted to. We've put off having a family. We've thankfully moved forward with some of those decisions. But, like, it's really stressful. Like, I'm 6 months pregnant and I shouldn't have to be dealing with this level of stress. When he can end all of this really quickly and just honour the contracts for the 5 families. The 5 families, like, we all live within 5 kilometres. We live 200 metres away from the house. We're looking at it every single day on our walks with our daughter. We haven't been able to do a nursery for our first baby, and now it's looking likely that mightn't happen now for our second child. So you're just in a state of limbo, huge amount of uncertainty. There's a huge financial toll. We're paying rent, childcare costs, and we just simply want to move into our houses. Like, they're fully ready. They're sitting there ready to go.
With the baby on the way, and like it's stressful enough having to deal with all of that, and paying the rent along with the stress that you've been dealing with. The only solution for you guys now to put a stop to this is just let us into the house. Are there any other avenues that could work in terms of the appointment of the receiver, or how that could work for you?
Yeah, like we in the creditors meeting, we like, for transparency, we made an offer to have a joint liquidation between one of our the liquidator that would be appointed by the revenue, who'd work in parallel with Colin Gaynor, who's appointed by Joe Elias, and that was flatly refused, point blank, no discussion. It wasn't even tabled to be referred later on. That would have been a viable solution, but going forward from that, we don't know where to go.
So you don't know if you're going to get into your house. Like, you don't know. And I realise that houses have gotten so much more expensive in the area. Of course, you're sitting there going, you entered into something in good faith. That was the price at the time. Circumstances that have happened globally are not your fault. Jeez, I'd be very angry.
Yeah, I think, like, you kind of go through phases of, like, anger and then just, like, real sadness. I think everything, I've kind of been good enough at, like, mentally blocking out stuff to obviously protect my baby, but now, like, in the last 2 weeks, it's kind of all come to a head. But I suppose, like, what's needed at this stage is, like, we actually need action. Like, it was brought up in the Dáil yesterday, and Micheál Martin said, you know, he will speak to other ministers, but we need a lot more than speaking, because like if this can happen to us, this can happen to any buyer across. It's not just first-time buyers like ourselves. This can happen to absolutely anybody. That developers, you know, can liquidate things. They can set up a company with the exact same directors under multiple different company names, buy out their own debt and make themselves number one creditors, where we actually just don't even stand a chance in this whole process.
I think you've heard about the Rathmoylan estate, and I'm sure that this is unfortunately going to rumble on, but you're looking for a resolution as soon as you possibly can. I know that you've done an awful lot of work yourselves in getting this story out there, in getting people to pay attention. And I want to say fair play, because we talk about this right to housing and nothing's happening, but you did, you know, it's a good faith contract that you entered. Anyway, I'm sure we're going to hear more about this. Elma Beirne and John Ennis, thank you so much for coming in and talking
good luck,
to us
guys.
today.
Thank you.
And
good luck.
Happy Christmas, and happy Christmas to your little girl as well, and good luck.
Thank you so
in
much.
the future. Fingers, we're
Thanks
crossing
a million
fingers for you.
for talking to us. We really
Thank
do
you.
appreciate it.